Short Rest with Fonzi and Carlo.
So hey guys, welcome back to our 10th episode.
Yes, this is our 10th episode.
Of the short rest. Big
Hell
big
yeah.
deal. Big deal.
Yeah, it's a particularly important episode too because we're gonna talk about the latest news on Season 10 Adventurers League.
Yeah, so 10th episode for Season 10 Adventures League
Ah,
content. So
it's
that's
your 10-10 Lazada discount fee.
next sale. Calendar
sale.
is smart. Money
Yep.
is scarce.
Yes.
Here we are. So welcome to Season 10 of the Dungeons and Dragons Adventures League. For those of you who are active on Adventures League, I myself am semi-active. I used to be very active in terms of like providing public games for Dungeon Mastering, AL games in Davao City, and also Roll20. So season 9 was the start of my DMing career. And now we are on the cusp of a new adventure in season 10. It's aptly called Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. The Icewind Dale title strongly reminds me of Chip and Dale. So I'm gonna try my best not to sing the jingle. Anyway, so before we get right into it, before we tear into the nitty-gritty of the new rules that a lot of people in the communities have been talking about, probably should be talking about, let's roll some hit dice. We would like to again, short test is our way of collecting ourselves after a week of work and whatever mundane routines we have, being not Dungeons and Dragons nerds. So yeah, let's start off with you, Fonzie. How's your week been?
My week has been filled with grunting every time I try to stand up from my chair. Mostly because I've been spending my mornings just riding my bike, and it has been really
oh my gosh,
rewarding and painful. Rewarding.
I'm so jealous.
Around the city, wearing my masks, which sucks, but you have to do it. You have to be responsible.
You have to be responsible.
Actually, we're recording this a little bit later than usual. I came from some errands, but before that, I came from my bike ride with a couple of friends. Actually, we went on a very chill bike ride near the coast of Davao, where we kind of like took some time to just relax, sit down, talk a little bit, catch up, and I had to head back before our recording, which is fine, it's just part of it. So yeah, I went out and spent about 2-3 hours, maybe more or less. Rode out at 4:30, I think 4:35 a.m. And I reached back home base at around 8:30 ish.
Oh, good. Did you have any? I'm glad you didn't have any trouble when it comes to the lights. You have lights ba installed in your bike?
I don't have lights. No, but it's fairly we started riding when there was visibility. There was the sun was out, which was fine. I don't necessarily have problems with lights because I generally just stay on the main road where it's well lit. So and I'm hoping that my reflectors, once they're installed, they can do the job. So I just came in, my flashlight and my blinky brake signal. I don't know what you call that thing. That was the red thing on your butt. I just came, but I wasn't able to get it and retrieve it yet. So I'm going to have them installed. So hopefully next week, I will be starting next week at the very least. I'm going to take a few days maybe to rest and recover. Because maybe I'll spend the rest of the day just grunting all the way. uh, my legs are sort of dead, but yeah. So it's really fun to just sweat. Go back to my roots. My first love was mountain biking or biking. So going back to that, really fun.
It helps that Genji is colored green.
Yeah, helps.
Just neon green.
Yeah, really helps.
Have like installed lights that are also colored green. That
And
should
also,
help with the
yeah,
Genji aesthetic.
and also like what was particularly fun about the ride earlier is that like we were not alone. Like there was like four of us on the initial ride heading towards the destination, but we were greeted with like so many riders, uh, riders that we didn't know, but we just
So
kind of like
nice.
we created this like peloton or something,
Mm,
and
just they could pull each other.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's fun. So there was this really interesting dynamic in numbers that you get in biking that other motorists can't really do anything or but respect you as a group. And it's really
Yeah.
fun. Bikers are really awesome dudes, most of them. Like as we were resting in one of the like bake shops, a lot of them would just nod, say hello as they rode by. So it's fun.
It's kind of like a Rohirrim thing. Making things up. Someone's a rider when they say hi, and they probably wear cycling jerseys and stuff.
Yeah, they did.
That's good.
They did. I wore a jersey, but not for cycling, for basketball to support my
Oh,
team
okay.
through the
Close
playoffs.
enough. It's still a jersey.
Go Heat.
Yeah. All right. That's good to know, man.
How about you, Carlo?
Yeah.
Any hit dice you want to roll?
Yeah, I'd like to roll for hit dice. The week has been fairly busy as per usual. I guess one of the milestones, at least, that I've achieved for this week is that I've started to take notes of my fitness level again. Ewan ko, na-inspire ako sa'yo whenever you start, whenever you post those bike pics, I'm like, man, I gotta do something about my life. I don't want to go out, so I'd rather spin indoors because like in Manila, it's probably just me, but I don't want to risk the cycling outside here in Metro Manila because of reasons na number one, I'm prone to accidents. And number two, yeah, I feel like I would be more. I have a better grasp of how of my performance when I'm on a trainer, because my basis would be like the numbers that appear on the machine rather than just. That's for me, someone who does triathlon. So I feel like I would really build my mind. Like it's cool to ride outside and stuff, and it feels really great that sometimes you achieve your limits of your body outside because you see things there. But when you're in a trainer, it's relatively more difficult because you're not moving, and all you're seeing is a screen or your YouTube, and then you have spending a ton of energy just pedaling. Anyway, yeah. So I feel like it would build that would build my I've started doing that once again. And yeah, I've other than the yoga stuff that I do every night, yeah, it's really for relaxing. Although yoga happens every week, I think I've been more regular for the past week. I've done it 3 times. I should do it every night just so I can relax whenever I go back to sleep.
Yeah, I love
But
yoga.
yeah. Yeah, it helps. It helps with It helps calming me down. Just as a mental note, though, I've tried yoga with the Street Fighter music on. I probably
work.
shouldn't try the Street Fighter. Yeah,
Should just remain. Anger doesn't work, and frustration doesn't work, and it's just about. This is about finding that really, really,
breathing.
really fine line between thinking about nothing, just
Yeah,
focusing on yourself.
yeah. Just the breathing helps. Just listening to it.
It's so hard to do yoga if you're like frustrated. You have to
Yeah.
let that go. But
You have to
hey
be
guys,
Namaste AF.
this is the D&D podcast. by the
Oh
way.
yeah. Sorry. Well, as we grow older, we
It's
are
fine.
tabletop titos after all.
Yeah, we have to do what we have to do. We're not as
Yeah.
young as we used to be.
We're not as spry or as virile as we used to be.
Yeah, but
Virile?
then
Sorry,
again,
that's
we
so weird.
do. Yeah, we run. Man.
Never
Uh,
mind.
yeah, so it's just part of keeping our life balanced. There's D&D for our entertainment and nerdiness. There's also
Mhm.
health and fitness, which is also equally, if not more important. Now,
Mhm.
especially in this pandemic, we just get stuck in the house for so long
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Gained a lot of weight recently, a lot of weight because of this pandemic. So I need to do that.
That's okay.
Mhm.
So has the rest of the world, I think.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. I need to mention this, by the way, since we're rolling hit dice. A really good fantasy writer that whose works I really love. Well, at least the sort of Truth series. Terry Goodkind just passed away.
Oh,
Just
really?
this past week. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Such a good. He's one of the it's one of his works that really got to me. The wizard rules of the Lord of the Rings. Sorry, the Sword of Truth series. Really inspired me to look into the fantasy genre more, like more than sci-fi. So yeah, it's sad that we lost another author in the same league as and now I feel like when we lost Terry Pratchett, I was like so sad. Now I'm even sadder now. But I guess we have a lot of other we've created stories of our own, I guess. I'm
Mm,
just happy that they got to share their stories with us.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's really it. So, adventurous rules,
Yeah. So
adventurous league rules.
yeah, so speaking of, we're just gonna share with you this document. Admittedly, I haven't really read the document
Mm,
as much as I should have. I don't really plan on running season 10 content anytime soon, but
yeah.
maybe like in the future, let's just read through this together. And there are like very notable things that that should be you know, noted in this changes of season 10. But essentially, like everything from leveling up to items to gold limits, they all are specifically very standard
Mm-hmm.
from season 9. So in terms of like transitioning your characters from season 9 to season 10, it should be fairly easy to do. But there are certain restrictions also in terms of like source books. So season 10, some content might not be eligible for some characters in season 9, which
Yeah.
kind of like, well, pretty sucks, but it's fine, I guess. Just start from tier 1 as we all should, and enjoy season 10 for what it is. There are, I'm not sure if they already published like adventures AL adventures for season 10 content. I haven't checked, but as we go into that in the future, in the next coming weeks, we're going to run a few. Maybe we're just going to look through them right now, but we're kind of like focused on something else because we were
Yeah.
planning to do Curse of Strahd, and now we're playing something else entirely.
Can
Yeah,
I
so
just
yeah,
Yeah, can I just say about regarding the Curse of Strahd campaign? Firstly, I'm excited for it. Secondly, the environment in my place is starting to really adapt this whole Curse of Strahd thing. For those we had a game last night, guys, and I'm not sure, it was kind of horror themed, but as soon as Fonzie mentioned the slightest hint of dark forces, my apartment unit lights started going on and off. So I had to turn it on and turn it off again. I'm having maintenance check it out. So yeah, I'm terrified but excited for Curse of Strahd. And Yeah, that's really just about it.
So it will be, maybe we'll talk about the homebrew. It was a
Yeah,
homebrew. It's a short
yeah,
story that I wrote way back in college, I think.
which is makes it more special.
Yeah, so I know the characters in and out and some of the people there. I've been thinking about that a lot. So it's been written for a span of a year, 2 years, I think. So I never got to end it. I never got to write an ending. But making it into a D&D story might work a little more because open-endedness in in D&D is fairly a good thing for players because they don't necessarily feel like they're being railroaded into a result, which isn't the
Speaking,
case, absolutely. Except for the first part, though. I will be publishing maybe the recording soon. Maybe. So it's
yeah, we have
definitely
a lot.
interesting.
Yeah,
Definitely interesting to start introduction of characters within a when they were assaulting a ziggurat filled with cultists. That's never happened to me before.
think of the A team.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
yeah.
So
All right.
and the rest of the adventure, no combat, just RP, which is fun. Which is fun.
I loved it actually. I got to practice my Western
Your
twang.
cowboy voice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
we're
cowboy.
so watch out for that. Maybe we'll be publishing that like maybe in a week or so, or maybe after this episode is published within the week.
Yeah.
We'll be shooting that out soon. So you can watch. Maybe we'll publish that in Tabletop Titos. We'll see. We'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yo, so season 10. So this is what the season 10 thingy looks like right now. So this is the Adventures League official player's guide for season 10. Icewind
Plague
Dale
of
Ride
Ancients.
of the Plague of Ancients. That's
How
interesting.
fitting.
So yeah, its effectivity is September 15, so we're already in season 10 right now.
Yeah.
So
I
creating
can
a
feel the
character
season.
is pretty standard. Still the same thing for in terms of like rule sets, but here we notice that the rule books has been kind of like adjusted. We see that
Yeah.
the rule books now contains Mordekainen's Tasha's Cold Run, which is something new.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's out. Is it out? Is it out
I
yet?
haven't checked that. Let
Yeah,
me
so-
double check that. Let me
Also, like Volos and Xanathar's Guide to Everything. So that's your PH. That's your player's handbook, and +1 resource is this. Also, one notable thing about character races. Did you note any specific like limits to that, Carlo, that you saw? What did you
I
find?
based on what I've read, you have to these races are limited to the following. If you're gonna scroll down to the following, well, of course, to the player's handbook and those same sources or these same books that you see up here. So there's Volu's Guide to Monsters, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. So those are basically the only races that you can play in these particular tomes. And if you're going to scroll down over to the left, so yeah, Volo's Guide to Monsters, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. What other tomes could we use or source books could we use?
Tasha's and Xanathar.
Yeah, Dashos and Sanatars. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's definitely interesting. With Tasha's Cauldron, I believe they introduced new spells for wizards, so that's interesting as well.
Yeah.
But also one notable thing is that your race does not fall under the rule book's PHB +1 rule anymore. So you can essentially do like mix it up, so you don't have to worry about playing tabaxis and having specific classes that you'd like to.
I have a question, Fonzie. I'm not I'm not very knowledgeable of AL rules. I'm knowledgeable of how to play the game and stuff. I guess my question is, what is this PHB plus one rule exactly? I am not very aware of it.
So essentially, like the very simplest of this is that for to sort of like balance character creation, there's a rule called PHB plus one, meaning that you use sources for creating your character using the player's handbook plus one additional source that is noted and legal in terms of the season. So in terms of the season 10, the plus one source books are Mordekainen's, Tasha's, Volo's, and
Oh,
Xanathar's Guide. So for example, if you do have a character built like based on PHB, and then for example, some of the classes are from Volos maybe or from Xanathar's, and there are certain feats that you'd like to take that belongs to some other source book, you can't take that. You can only take up to two source book materials for your character. So that's kind of like the limit, and a very good way for players to balance out, like air quotes,
mm,
like how they, and to prevent kind of like really powerful, really optimized characters that for others. Could you imagine that if you could like take elements out of each source book to feed into your character? That's already really far out. And
yeah.
also like logistically and logically, like you can only learn so much growing up as as a fighter or as a wizard or stuff like that. So
Yeah.
you can't really, it's not practical for someone to be a sage at everything, which
Yeah.
which is it's kind of like it's, and overpowered characters are not fun to play with.
Yeah. Could be
So
fun for the player, but for the rest, right?
yeah, like for example, like there's a game and then you just one hit the boss and everybody else in your team does nothing, so that's not
Yeah.
fun at all.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's just,
pretty.
yeah,
That sucks.
it keeps the game balanced, and also it keeps character creation fairly simple. So if you have an idea, or as other DMs do go through your character and kind of like go through the source books, this is admittedly something that I need work on because I'm not very
Yeah.
strict in terms of that.
Yeah.
I put it to the responsibility of the players that they know what they're doing and I trust them. But
Yeah.
for new players, like for example, this is very important, and don't be surprised if other players call you out or kind of like give you like feedback on the legality of your character, because I've seen a lot of like level already in tier 2s that are not following the PHP plus 1 rule, and they had to remake their character because they're not legal.
Oof.
So
Ouch.
essentially like they had to rework the character because essentially it's not legal. So for DMs, like if your DM is your friend, maybe that's something that he can let pass. But for playing public games, like in public tables and stuff like that, or especially epics, your DM will definitely have the knowledge or have the curiosity, like how you're able to come up with this character sheet, be able to measure your HP and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. I've read through some of the. I've gone through Reddit lately, and I've seen some. How should I say this? I wouldn't call them complaints, but feedback. I'd call them feedback on season 10 rules, and uh, it mentions, or one of these thread mentions seasonality. I'm not exactly sure what seasonality means, but does that mean that whenever you make a T1 character, is it barred from playing from season 9 adventures? Is that the case? So
Yeah.
I've been, yeah. So I'd like to know why that's the case. How,
Sure.
like, lore wise, Yeah, if rules are rules, I have no problem. Fine, if if that's the case. But I want to know why, lore wise.
Sure.
Why was that? Why stop season one characters from playing in older adventures, and um, vice versa, can legacy characters play, or legacy characters or characters that are from seasons 1 through 9 participate in season 10?
Uh, well, I think it's for mostly like for the interest of like fluidity of the story. Like
Yeah,
there are community created content or CCCs that ignore seasonality. So
mm,
regardless of like season of character where you created that character, essentially, or most the CCCs are, if not all of the CCCs, ignore that. So you can play regardless of where when you built the character or what season. You can play in that. You can play CCCs.
yeah,
Um, for in terms of like seasonality, it's essentially the Adventures League's attempt to create fluidity, like I mentioned, and like unique treasures and rewards and stuff like that. So from
I
season
see.
to season, that would change essentially. So the rewards that you get from season, let's say 4 or season 5, are very different from the rewards that you get from season 9 and stuff like that. So essentially, to balance out, it's necessary for season for former seasons, for example, season 4 created character, to be able to migrate into the new season. So season 4, like based on timeline, is something that happened in the past. So just think of migrating you or transferring your character to another season. In terms of seasonality, is just that is the time in between from the events of
Oh,
season 4 to season 9 or season 10.
yeah.
And there are certain restrictions based depending on the season that you're transferring that character to. So it's just
Yeah,
that. So there are a lot of like rules in between, but essentially the rationale for seasonality is that. So it's just to make sure that all the characters that are playing in Adventures League content are, up to date in terms of like the season and adjustments of rules,
yeah.
because there
I
are certain
understand. I see.
rules. There are certain rules that would apply. Let's say for season 9, there were rules surrounding Azimars and their ability to fly.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly, so those were adjusted. So depending on the new season, like season 10, if that rule still applies, then there we could probably make that happen. But
Yeah,
essentially, it's just that. It's just
I
that.
see.
And it kind of like makes sense, like how they try to address time in here is just based on seasonality. And
Yeah,
I don't really have much, in terms of like, I don't really have much complaints in terms of how they transition seasonality and stuff. What I like to do is anyway, like before I think about transferring or adjusting my character to the new season or transferring that character to the new rule set, I take some time because I do like to start like fresh from tier 1 in the new
yeah,
season and just build it up from there. So I have
yeah.
only few characters coming from season 8, season 7, transferred into season 9. So
I
I
feel
think
like
just
I
one
should.
or two.
Yeah, I see. Yep. I think, yeah, I feel like I should yeah, my question is lore wise at least. I want to know, like, if I can understand correctly, the seasons and the stories that are revolve around these seasons aren't necessarily in a linear timeline, right? There are events that happen in these respective seasons that happen to occur alongside the other seasons or happen before. I'd like anyone to contribute to that. I'm not very knowledgeable
Mhm.
on the lore surrounding the Adventurers League uh, adventures or hardcovers.
Yeah,
So
timelines are
yeah,
weird. Timelines
Yeah,
are weird
timelines are weird.
in Faerun, but
In
there should be a post. Like I saw a post of it, like the timelines of
yeah,
seasons and adventures in
yeah.
Faerun, just based on
We should
what
discuss that
happened.
when we have for another time
Like
para
I feel like
everyone's
I feel like the Curse of Strahd is something that happens like that kind of like negates timelines. But definitely all the rest, like for example,
how never
Tiamat,
mind.
uh, like maybe like other there are other hardcovers that doesn't necessarily or ignores timeline because it can happen at any season. Like for
Yeah.
example, White Blue Mountain is a hardcover. It could
Mm-hmm.
happen at literally any season because it's just a normal,
Yeah.
let's
It's
climb a
a
mountain and
yeah.
conquer the
It's a
mountain.
it's an adventure that I mean it doesn't affect the state of Faerun or the Sword
Yeah.
Coast.
Yeah, for like for example for other adventures like Rise of Tiamat, I think as you did meet like characters like Ulder Ravengard, who in season 9 was sucked into Avernus. Spoilers, but he was sucked into Avernus. So technically maybe it happened before or after Descent into Avernus, but definitely after, sometime after, because he just has one eye, whereas I think in the earlier season he has does he have one eye? I forgot, but anyway, so stuff like that. So now
I
Older
wa-
Ravengard has a higher rank in Baldur's Gate,
Mhm.
as to compared to like what happened before, and he's kind of like a captain or something like that.
It's strange because Older Ravengard reminds me so much of like when I think of his name, I immediately think of Mortal Tyrael from Diablo 3. So I'm
Yeah.
like, it's strange. Anyway, yeah, I've got a couple of points here from the no from our from written by Nico, a good tabletop Tito friend of ours. So I have at least 5 points to share. One is that races can be further customized
Oh yeah. Mhm.
following the rule in Tasha's. So Tasha's Cauldron comes out November 2020,
Ah,
17 or 14, I'm not sure. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope there's stuff in that source book that we can that's fun, I guess. I haven't really played any other race other than a human and Asimars. I might change things up a bit. So it depends on what's in that source book. Another interesting point of information. So we mentioned that there are other source books. There's Bolos, there's what are the others? More than kindness. The following source books will no longer be +1 resources, however. Skag, Elemental Evil, Lokata Rising, and the Turtle Package. So these are not anymore. In order to preserve seasonality, quote unquote, these are no longer +1 sources. Another point of information. That's why in the Adventurers League Season 10 rules, there are a specific number of races you can play with the source books. Not all of them. Volos, more than Cannon's Tome of Foes have a few restricted races to keep in theme with the season. So that means no U1T, no Goblinoids, no Lizard Folk. Only those that were stated in the rules, in the new rules that they let out. So I'm not sure why. It might be something that's strictly story related. But I imagine since it's the cold, maybe lizard folk and U1T don't do very well in cold weather. I'm not sure. Yeah.
you
And
have an adventure and based on like located in the frigid north. Goblins are immediately not allowed to head north.
yeah, if it's lore, if it makes that's what I'd like to have. That's really what matters to me, kind of. If lore wise it makes sense, it's fine. Another a fourth point would be that newly created season 10 characters can only play. Yeah, we've made this before. They couldn't play any other adventure other than season 10. And then lastly, season 10 characters have the option to migrate to legacy content. Legacy content being season 1 through 9. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, so that's pre-season 10 and non-season 10 content, including CCCs at level 5. At which point they cannot return. So this is including CCCs. So are CCCs considered legacy content na? If that's the case, they wouldn't be able to return to to season 10. How how what's the implications of these?
So they essentially, I feel like they just want season 10 content to be championed in terms of like fresh created characters for season 10.
You can say it's like a Thanos snap of
And maybe it's a nice way for people to buy season 10 content. So they want to be able for people to buy adventures for season 10. So it makes sense.
damn it, capitalism. Just
Yeah.
kidding.
It's an
it makes
expansion
sense.
pack essentially. It's an
Yeah.
expansion pack that you're able to play it. So
Yeah.
you can only take new characters to the expansion pack, but you
Yeah.
can't take them out. So you have to play within the expansion pack. So you can't probably play the same game over and over. So you have to buy the next one. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of
I have a
sense.
question. Is Lost Mines of Fandelver seasonal content? Is it because if that's the case, and if I'm going to run an Adventurers League hardcover, I might as well start with Rime of the Frost Maiden. What do you think? If I'm a new DM who will be, who's going to um start running Adventurers League content or Adventurers League games or hardcovers, what's the How what would you recommend? Should
Well,
we go with?
if you run that game and character create on season 10, you would use season 10 rules, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But if you
I
use
see.
like other seasons, like season 9 or season 8, you would have to migrate that character to season 10 after the adventure.
Oh, okay. All right. I see. I see. Okay
So
then.
I think that's the rule there. But for essentially for like how we do character creation for season 9, regardless of content, we follow the season's rules and then just use that.
Yeah.
Makes it
Okay.
easier for you to be able to transition from game to game using season 10 content. So you run Lost Mines and then transition that afterwards to season 10, or create a season 10 character, play Lost Mines. So that would be no problem
Yeah.
for you.
I'll probably do that instead, so we could just get the ball rolling on that.
Yeah.
Have yet to run for a few friends for that. Yeah. All right. I guess
Or
that.
it doesn't have to be Adventures League. You know, you can it's much easier to go through with them not really following Adventures League if you do see that this
Yeah.
group of people don't necessarily like if it's a long term arrangement like
Yeah.
with like with us, like we do play regularly with the same people, so it makes sense. Like homebrew, I think it's time for homebrew. So
Yeah.
like season 10 confuses me, and AL for all its positive things kind of restricting. So like in terms of like there are a lot of classes that are available that you can't play because they're not AL legal. So it's for a fun experience, just homebrew.
Yeah.
But if you do want to take them in, so if they are planning to go into public games, so it would make sense to go AL. But if they just want to stick with you in terms of time tayo na muna,
Yeah.
so homebrew na lang. So it
Yeah.
makes for a lot better, like an easier experience for you as a DM.
Yeah, at least no. At least with it's really just about finding friends who really like to just play that game.
Mostly I run AL content because I know Luke and Nico. They also are they're very active in terms of like looking for other games if there are no other
Mm-hmm.
games, and other games are AL. So most of the adventures I run with them are with them involved are usually AL content and AL rules. So that's really the reason why. But like for example, for this, there are we lock in characters and we have hardcovers. So that's and there are and I have time to prepare for campaigns and stuff. I'm preparing for
Yeah.
Curse of Strahd. Also have this homebrew. I don't know why I did two things at the same time, but here I am. I'm ready.
Once again, it's embracing the DM card.
So it's interesting. Like it's just interesting. It just depends on what the career path of your players are. Like, how do you see yourself? Or do you see yourself like playing in public games in the future, or do you want to just just play with us for a while and maybe create a character like outside, or it's just up to
Yeah. Yeah.
and
I'm chill with whatever.
yeah. So, there are a lot of resources available about season 10 as we're learning more about it and what implications that it does have on our next games in the future. Like, for example, for AL Curse of Strahd, I think we would just need to focus on finishing that first because it is kind of like AL rules.
Yeah.
So finish that first since we started already. So you're locked in with that season, and then focus on transitioning that after the adventure. Since we haven't really started, you can transition your character to season 10 to season 10 characters now. So it's totally up to you.
Yeah, just as a note, Fonzie, Icewind Dale is already out. It came out on September 15.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's available in game stores and digitally. I'd like to get a physical copy,
Yeah,
but
you
I feel
should
like
run it.
yeah,
You should run it.
yeah. Think about
And
it. Yeah,
add
I'll
an
know.
NPC that you like so much.
Elsa.
Yes.
All right, yeah, I'll do that.
You
Sige.
should run it. Like I have no time to read through.
Yeah, you're
another
busy
source
with Curse of Strahd and
Yeah.
our homebrew.
Yeah, just busy with there. So feeling if I read another book, I'd be distracted and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So rather
makes
just
sense.
focus on the game. Finish that
Yeah,
first. Maybe run for someone else, or if you want to run it, you've been itching to DM. Itching maybe? Are you itching for DM? I'm not
Yeah, I am actually. Like
There you
I've been trying to find out what I haven't DM'd mostly for AL content mostly because of season 10. I'm not using it as excuse. I just want to be aware of the rules. And yeah, there's also our upcoming Call of Cthulhu on November. So I'm thinking of November or October 31. I'm thinking of turning it into a midnight thing. So
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
October
Mhm.
31, I will be in Cagayan de Oro. But
Okay.
I will try my best to play with you. I will bring my stuff, and just in case I can, I will play. Just in case I can. But if
Yeah.
if it's a midnight thing, maybe there's a large possibility I will be able to join you.
All right.
But we will see. I will have to get back to you there.
Yeah. It's really just talagang theater of the mind. It's very prop heavy kasi yung Call of Cthulhu na game. But yeah, I'll try to check how we can do pag if just a theater of the mind thing. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, as we're wrapping up our
Yeah.
episode of the short rest, watch out for season 10 games. We will update you on the page. Also, like our other Facebook page.
Oh yeah. Can I say something pala before we totally wrap up?
Yeah.
So yeah. Short rest content, I'm sorry about what I said last episode, I mentioned that we would be uploading short rest episodes in the new Tabletop TITOS channel. We have some program ideas separate from in short rest, separate to short rest that we'll be putting in the Tabletop TITOS channel. Mostly tabletop tea time. Just wait until that comes out. But yeah, as of now, we're still going to put short rest content in my channel.
Yes.
Just Carlo Geeks Out.
Because this is your baby, so this belongs to you.
Yes, it's also where I get the most views. So
Oh,
yeah, man, that Curse of Strahd opening is my most viewed. Curse of Strahd intro is my most viewed video.
congrats.
So yeah, it's from Reddit. Anyway, sorry, go ahead, Fonzie.
Yeah, so yeah, as we're closing up, we are going to be with you in looking out for news and updates about season 10. So we will update you when we can, and we will talk about other adventures and maybe run a season 10 adventure for you, maybe live. We're not sure. But definitely soon when we have the time. So thanks for listening, guys, and take care of yourself. Be safe.
Wait.
Wash your hands.
Where can they find you, man?
Me, yeah, you can find me on Twitter, on Instagram at Fonzi2, FONZITOOT, and also like our page at Tabletop TITOS, at Tabletop TITOS Facebook page. So
Yeah.
check that out.
Yep, and you can find me at Carlo Geek. You can find me at Twitter. And Instagram at Carlo Geeks Out. I'm also on Facebook, Carlo Geeks Out. Just try searching for that specific phrase, and yeah, you could also find me at carlogeeksout.com. Again, you could also find Tabletop TITOS in YouTube. We'll be posting the link below. We couldn't change the username yet because we need more subscribers to do that. Yeah, so please
Like and
subscribe. Yeah, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get notified of
And
new
comment.
content. Yeah, comment. Tell us tell us in which areas we should improve. Give us your feedback.
Or what's your
Tell us
favorite
if-
fruit?
Yeah, anything, your color.
Yeah. I am
Age.
wearing underwear today. Thank you.
Yes.
That's a very valid comment.
Wow, I will like that comment. I will heart it. Anyway, yeah. So watch out for season 10, guys. Thank you for joining us for the 10th episode,
Ooh.
which where we happen to talk about season 10. We'll see you again next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
A short rest with Fonzi and Carlo.